and policies, District of Sycamore's Housing Agreement Bylaw 1126/2026, 717 Capel Street. The recommendation of the District of Sycamore's Housing Agreement Bylaw 1126/2026 be given first, second, and third reading this 24th day, June 2026. Could I get a mover? Councillor Bristol, Councillor Rich. Nicole?
Yes, thank you, through the chair. Okay, so the file we've been working on for quite a bit of time. Had a few discussions at the Planning and Development Committee meeting. And ultimately today we're bringing forward a housing agreement for second and third reading for 717 Capel Street. I don't have slides, but I do just have some general information about the agreement itself. So at the Planning and Development Committee meeting, a resolution was passed that ultimately this is going to be council's decision. There was a lot of back and forth on this proposal. And so the resolution also stated that if the developer came forward with the housing agreement, then really the development would be considered with council. So the developer has prepared this housing agreement. It's a very standard housing agreement. I think we provided them the template, maybe from Kelowna or Vernon. And so in the housing agreement, just big picture. So the district's role in this agreement is to set the rules for the developer. What they're looking for is additional units for density on this property. And so we'll set the rules for what that looks like, monitor compliance if we want to, and then enforce if needed if we want to. The district is responsible for requiring the developer to provide 2 sustainable rental units. Under our zoning bylaw, this is permitted. So right now they have 11. Yes, 11 units, and they're allowed additional units, but they're not quite allowed the 14. So in order to get to 14 units on this property, they would have to enter into this agreement for 2 attainable units. So other requirements are the developer would have to rent them to people with income limits set by BC Housing and charge affordable rent, also set out by BC Housing. So the district can ask the owner for reports and confirming compliance and things like that if we want to. We can request documents for proof of, income eligibility and things like that, or just make general inquiries to confirm that these rules are being followed. We can do inspections if we'd like, just to ensure that the buildings and the units are properly being used as attainable units. In terms of enforcement in the agreement, if, say, the owner has broken the rules, the district can give written notice and then charge a daily penalty, $50 a day. And then after 30 days, they'd probably have to go into court if there was any kind of compliance issues. So the district can agree to special cases for tenants. That would be between the developer and the district if there was some type of special case for an attainable unit. I don't know what that looks like, but the option is there to agree to that. And then the district can approve any replacement units if units are being demolished in the future. This is a 10-year agreement. So there's some legal protection, of course, for the district. We don't have to enforce this. There's no duty to on the district's behalf to the tenants or to the owner. Really, this agreement indemnifies the district, and it's for the district's benefit only. Of course, they would get their 2 attainable units. And so really just in general, like the housing agreement would allow, if supported tonight for second, third, the developer to move forward with their development permit for the multi-unit dwellings, and then a development variance permit that we've discussed at the Planning and Development Committee meeting. So as part of this attainable housing agreement, there's no notification required to anyone. So that's the process that we've followed. If we did go into the development permit and development variance permit stage, notification would be required to the tenants and owners in a 50-meter radius for the development variance permit only. And just high level, and I think there's a site plan. Yeah, we've included the site plan as part of the staff report. Some of those variances which aren't being considered tonight. So setbacks, roughly 6 meters to 3 meters. Landscape buffer, 3 meters to about 1.6 to 2.6. And then they have a couple parking variances proposed. So that's a general overview. I know we'll probably have some comments from the Planning and Development Committee council members. Good.
Great.
Great, thank you. Council comments. It's Rich.
Through the chair, just a question, and I know it's not on the table yet, but if we do move forward, what are the parking variances we're thinking about? Because it sounds like it's already come up.
Yeah, so it's, so they're already permitted under the zoning bylaw to have small parking stalls. So some of those variances would be the dimensions for the small parking stalls. And then the regular parking stalls, there's also a width variance.
Counselor Bushel and Counselor Bailey.
Can I just?
Oh, sorry.
What, I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
So what like?
Making them smaller.
With 50 and one's for like a micro car, or I don't understand what the variances are. Sorry.
Yeah, through the chair, would you mind if you?
Yeah.
He knows the very, very specifics. Yes. You could, yeah.
Thank you, the chair. Just to reply to that parking related variance that the proponent will ask for, should the housing agreement tonight will be endorsed. So mainly it's three things. The bylaw and the parking stall equations and what they're looking at. Mainly it consists of the two parts. One is a regular parking stall and the other is a small parking stall. And then each stall comes with dimension expectations. So for the small parking stalls, it has a regular dimension. For the regular parking stall, it has a width of 2.8 meter. So it's in terms of the height and depth, it's a 5.2 meter long, and then the width wise 2.8 meter required. What the proponent will ask for is number of the stalls for the regular width to be reduced from 2.8 meter to 2.5 meter. So what they are looking for is just squeeze the width of the parking stalls in so that they can retain and supply the required stall numbers. The other thing is just the number of small parking stall requirement. The bylaw requires minimum 6, and then the proponent desires to increase it to 10.
Follow up?
Just, do we know what size of car that fits in? And I know I should know this, but are we going from a pickup truck down to a Honda Civic, or what fits in a small parking spot?
So for the small parking stalls, obviously the smart cars will fit for sure. For regular hatchback, like 3 or 5 door small passenger hatchback type of the car will fit in. Just to elaborate more on the width of the standard parking stalls. Our bylaw, zoning bylaw in the city has been traditionally using the equation that appears to be pretty much borrowed from other municipalities. If we were to compare what the proponent is asking for in comparison to like standard parking stall size that of city of Kelowna or Toronto, those are in alignment to what other larger cities would enable. So what they're asking for in terms of the parking stall dimension is not too much. Instead, it's deemed agreeable.
Thank you.
Counselor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you, Nicole and June, for that. We hashed this out in planning and I feel bad. You guys are really trying to make it work, but they haven't decreased the density at all. And it's really dense. There's just no green space for, you're gonna put 14 families in there probably. And there's no place for them to do anything. Like it's all parking lot and asphalt or buildings. So, I know they need the setbacks and all that stuff that still have to come, but I can't support this. It's too tight. And I know it is the housing we need, but just unfortunately, they're working with a building that's already there. And they now need to have a road put in, which is gonna take away most of the green space to get to the back property. And it just doesn't, it's just too tight and it's in a residential area. too. That's the other issue. So that's my concern.
Thank you, Councillor Bushel.
Just
Go
for
ahead.
clarification, so on tonight's agenda is the housing agreement, which is permitted in the zoning bylaw that they apply for that. So council can certainly advise the developer through this process what concerns they would have when the DVP and the development variance permit and the development permit come back to you. For your consideration, but you have to consider the housing agreement on the housing agreement itself, not on the merits of future applications that'll be coming to you. So this specific item is about the housing agreement. So you're welcome to have that discussion and provide that advisement. So you consider this component of it. You give them advisement that you wish to see in the DP and the DVP when it comes back to you, or you may not support, or you may support based on those criteria. That is within your privy. You need to evaluate this specific item tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And obviously there's a follow through here on this, right? Without this housing. And yeah, it probably doesn't follow through. So here's my issue even with the housing agreement, because I mean, there's a lot of nice buzzwords in housing agreements, like attainable housing. Well, attainable housing is 30% of $100,000. If you're an individual, it's more if you're a family. So that's where the rents would be capped under the 10-year housing agreement. Well, that ain't a good deal. That's a bad deal. I mean, if we're saying that as an individual, let's say you make $90,000 a year, well, 30% would be about, let's call it $28,000 a year in potential rent that you could pay here. Chances are you wouldn't pay that. But what I'm trying to say is the floor is very high. This is not something that is a great deal, I would say, considering the trade-offs that we'd have to make in order to have this potentially go through. So I don't support the housing agreement. I don't support it because when we were talking about other aspects, I didn't support that either. So I just don't think this is a good deal. And I just think we should, yeah, you really can't decouple it because we've seen others. So, I mean, I'm not going to, pretend that that isn't part of it. But if you only get what's potentially $2,000 a month or $2,200 a month rentals, and you have to give all this back and all this extra, then I just don't see how that's a good thing for the area or the community.
Thank you, Councillor Bailey. Councillor Evans.
Yeah, I echo what Gordon Ian said. The word crammed comes into my mind and regarding the housing agreement and the project, but I just have too many problems with this.
And I myself am going to echo that too, and the density in the neighborhood that it is in. So, council, does anyone have? Okay, let's call the, Councillor McCabe, are you there? Okay. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I agree with all the concerns that you mentioned and Gord mentioned and Bob mentioned. I'm not going to support this.
Okay, thank you. Let's call the question. All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor of supporting the housing? Opposed?
Sorry.
I'm opposed.
Opposed is carried. The motion's not carried.
For council clarification, we'll provide feedback that we heard this evening. We'll of course be able to see the minutes and watch the council meeting
No green
as to
space.
the concerns expressed with the housing agreement that was before council this evening.
Correct. Thanks.
Okay, let's move on. Revitalization tax exemption amending bylaw number 1128, 2026. Recommendation of the revitalization tax exemption amending bylaw number 1128, 2026 be given first, second, and third reading this 24th day of June, 2026. Councillor Bushel, Councillor Evans. Bianca.
Yeah, this is just a small little amendment to our revitalization tax exemption bylaw, just from some feedback we've heard just on it. Especially with our big developments, there's a lot of different steps involved, and sometimes, you forget to check a box. So this is just, a little bit extra time for people to get in their revitalization tax exemption bylaw if it was missed at building permit.
Okay, Copy that. Thank you. Council, any comments, questions? Let's call the question. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you, Bianca. Okay, CAO report, Dean, go ahead.
Thank you. So this is my CA report for June. So we've seen a number of applications in the last little while. Old Town Bay, development at the end of Old Town Bay is one of our larger ones that's come in recently. Recently attended FCM with the mayor in Edmonton. Great opportunity to hear a number of speakers, as well as attend a trade show that had hundreds of different both components as well as services. It's a great opportunity, good to see new things that are out there. Some of the seminars were very wide diversity of different things. Some of them were absolutely exceptional about governance, wildfire, hazards, a whole bunch of different things right down to immigration. There's lots of different components in FCM, which is great to see. Opportunity to meet and network with people from across the great country, which was wonderful to do. I think there was well over 3,000 delegates there. It's an exercise in stairs if you've ever been to Edmonton Conference Center. I don't think I've ever been in a building with so many stairs. It's 7 floors of different stairs that go through. So it slopes down a hill for the conference center with about maybe 600,000 or 700,000 square feet. It was just quite a good opportunity.
Oh, can I just interject right there? I'm
Sure.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but everyone knows where Sycamoose is and everyone is happy to meet with Sycamoose. It is simply amazing.
All right. And I gotta say, I've never, I've worked in a lot of different communities. I've never been to a trade show where when I told people where I was from, so many of them responded, oh, I love Sycamoose. I work for the city. Well, I worked for, I came from Prince George, and I have never.
Amazing.
So many people, it was absolutely gobsmacked. How many people said, we can't wait to get there. I'm so excited. Or even, we were just there. Can't wait to- You're so lucky to live there. It's amazing. Anyways.
Fantastic.
Very good eye opener.
Nice to hear.
So our multifamily on Wet Up is, they're continuing with their engineering submission. As soon as that gets going, they want to get moving. They want to kind of move all at once. So they're holding off on getting mobilized until they're ready to go. They're working on their engineer design works. So as soon as we receive those back, we can move forward with that piece. They are still working on architectural drawings. They want to add some additional units. So we haven't seen those drawings come back yet either. And 4222 Mare Lake Road, the rezoning, we're waiting just for the Ministry of Transportation to complete that rezoning. And then we can move forward with that project, which would be great to see for them. Public Works continues to work on our ridge project out there. It's exciting to watch. We've hit some really good sand material. Daryl is managing the project exceptionally well. And things are going very, very good. Really, really happy with how quickly they're moving, which is good to see. And I think it's going to make a big difference for community in the long term, as well as the short term, as far as how much we can deal with our liquids. The percolation on the lower bottom of the basins is far higher than we expected. So it's great to see, which is good news. Better the percolation, the longer the life. We continue to work on a number of bylaw updates. The OCP is the one you saw today. We do have some other ones that will be coming very soon as well. The zoning bylaw update will follow the OCP adoption, which will hopefully take place this fall, and we'll see a number of components in the zoning bylaw that require updates. The good neighbor bylaw, zoning bylaw on the CCANs, the project the council asked me to do on that. We've scaled back on the CCAN component as we're looking at zoning bylaw updates that would change kind of the landscape on that component. We've had a good response, so I'm actually quite pleased to say that we heard back from over 75% of the people who received the letters. We either got game plans for them or things they were doing. Also noticed a number of activities going on around town, properties that are being weed whacked, properties that are being cleaned up, which has been great to see. So, the response from the community has been, thank you for the advisement, and we're moving forward and carrying on with that. So I think I was quite happy with that. I thought that was quite successful. And that's my update.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Councillor Rich, Councillor Bushel.
Through the chair, I've got a couple. How's our housing library doing? I've got a few, so do you want me just to one at a time? How's the housing library doing?
The housing library, as far as the opportunities to proceed.
Well, maybe Nicole,
A plan library.
we had a housing plan library that was done through the housing committee. Is it up and running?
Yeah, through the chair. It is up and running. That's funny because I had just messaged Campton today because I thought we should do another push out. No one has taken us up on our free plans yet, but they're available. The program is up, webpage is there. Candace pokes people when they're coming in for their building permits, but no bites yet. But it is out there.
Well, I will pass on to council. I was a part of City of Kelowna's initiative to do this with fourplexes and sixplexes. And they did not get any uptake on those either. It is very difficult for these plans to really be of value to somebody. So even though the plans are free, the cost to actually amend them so that you can actually get a building permit and build them is significant. And you're then bound to the design that's been done. So the uptake in Kelowna, they spent probably $1.5 million on their program. The uptake in Kelowna was 0 on the sixplexes. Some of the fourplexes, but modifications to them went forward, but it's very difficult to do. So it's kind of was an initiative that a lot of communities were pursuing. Unfortunately, it hasn't been a lot of uptake for it. There hasn't been a lot of success for it, not because it's not a good idea. I think the success of it, and I spoke to the housing committee at the last meeting, is not so much that the uptake of it as the conversation it creates. It gets people thinking about doing something more with density on their property. And that certainly was what we saw in Kelowna. People began looking at their property differently and looking at opportunities for housing on their property differently. And that was more the catch for it, less of the intake of actually building what's been given to them as an opportunity, and more, let's think about things a little differently.
That's Rich.
Yeah, then my next one was the wildlife bylaw. The wildlife bylaw.
Wildlife attractant ban?
Yeah, so that's 2024 that we've been working on that.
We are. So that one is scheduled to come. When are we scheduled that next one?
Through the chair, is it next council meeting?
July 8th.
For committee of the whole.
Correct.
For
That
Cal.
was a real joint effort there between the three. It was Cal for July 8th and then following comments.
And then I just wanted to bring up, which you and I've been talking about, is parking on Main Street. It's becoming an issue, so I just think we really need to get there before it. I'm getting complaints already with truck and trailers staying overnight. So can we have a plan for our next meeting to make sure that we've got our signage up?
So we do have to reach out to some of our business owners. We hope that we would hear from some of the business owners further to the west from where you're speaking about today. We haven't heard from the business owners either where they want further restriction on parking in that particular block. Certainly, there's an opportunity for more signage on there, more enforcement. There is going to be more enforcement with Salmon Arms starting their bylaw enforcement. So we're going to have more activities on the streets. Limiting parking is definitely something we can look at doing. Signage, additional signage for no overnight parking. That certainly can be done. We'll go and review Main Street after this weekend with the parade. Daryl and I will do a field trip and we'll go have a look and see what we can do.
Okay, yeah, it's overnight truck and trailer parking, right? I absolutely want people parking there. But when people are parking there with overnight with their truck and trailers for 5 days and on a continuous basis, then that's taking up spaces that our businesses aren't being able to have a turnover. And then, you know, if we need to, and I'm not saying fine people, but if we have a printout, we put on their car and say, Scott Renault, Reds, whoever has, I think Old Town Bay has overnight parking, and not so much punishment, but here's places that you can take your truck and trailer if you need to go up the lake and leave your vehicle for 5 days. It's not on our main street.
Those are cottage owners.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Cal.
I'm just trying to remember, if we had a conversation, I'm sure we had a conversation about the huge parking area in the middle of Finlayson Field. But it's happening again on the corner on Main Street. Did we not, after that discussion, put in something to stop people from parking their work vehicles along Main Street in their property there? Like, have we not done anything to stop other people from parking the wrong kinds of vehicles and not developing a space? You know what I'm talking about. You know the space I'm talking about. Next to the Paradise Avenue, there's a corner lot there. And now it's starting to collect work vehicles. And that's on Main Street. And it's the same owner of the piece down Finlayson, right? I thought we had put something in there.
We had a conversation with the property owner. To date, there's been one vehicle that's been there. He's been asked to remove it. They're not allowed to store on that property, and the owner is aware of that.
Oh.
There is vehicles in there today because they're working. They're doing some survey work on the site. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. I'm scheduled to meet with the property owner tomorrow at 10. There are a number of properties to view.
Find some way to get around it. I'm sorry.
Bushel.
Yeah, just have a couple, Dean. So, rail trail, parking signs we talked about last year about, Fallen Road parking lot. And I know Pam and I met, an owner over there and we told him it's not our issue, but it is our issue because they're parking on Old Spal Road and they're going through the neighbor's parking lot or neighbor's, residence to get to the rail trail. Where did we leave off with the parking signs for directing people to go to? We talked about that. I know I remember John and Kevin were both here. We talked about it. This was going back a couple of years. They were gonna do it last year and they didn't do it.
Yes.
Where are we at this year, you know?
We have our next rail trail meeting. We'll bring it up again.
Okay. In that meeting, these people that live at Fallen Road, they're okay with a parking lot, temporary parking lot, but they're not okay with a full-time parking lot. And what happened is they noticed that they were surveying out there and they went and asked the surveyors what they're doing and they said they're surveying a big parking lot at Falling Road and for the CSRD. So they met with the CSRD. CSRD's got a plan. They're supposedly bought property on the other side of the channel. They're gonna put a parking lot at they figure at 0 kilometers. Do you know anything about that? Or this is the first we've heard of it?
And the last comment that I received from the CSRD CAO as well as from Derek was that parking for the rail trail is Sycamus. That is mile 0. We're mile 0. This is where the parking is supposed to be. There has been some discussions of necessity for accessibility parking. There may be some accessibility parking that would be at Fallen Road. That getting a wheelchair down the 0 to 0.5 component may be difficult. We don't know, it hasn't been built yet, but it may be necessary to have some accessibility parking, but that's been the full extent of the conversation today.
And sorry if I could interject, because I do know a little bit, is that once that Fallen Road parking lot does get filled, when people start parking down the streets and cutting across people's parking lots, so discouraging parking over there because there's only a small handful of parking that can park there. And people aren't going to want to run back to Sycamus because they can't find parking there. So that's when they opt out for taking parking on the road and cutting across people's parking lot or people's property. So I would keep parking in Sycamus and yeah, because frankly, it's best for us.
Okay.
Campbell Beach.
That was my question. I figured it was best to have as much parking as possible on both sides of the road, not at Fallen Road, but I think we were thinking that it would be beneficial to be able to accommodate both sides because I think we're going to see an enormous amount of traffic through that trail when it's all done. And I think we're going to need more than just parking in Sycamus. So they were looking at the CSRD apparently has purchased property underneath the bridge or just beyond the bridge. Apparently, this is what we've been told, that they have purchased property that they were thinking could be parking on the other side of the bridge. Right, Gord, I got that right? Yeah. And that they weren't going to develop it because they thought it would be stepping on Sycamus's toes for parking. And I'm just thinking, have we expressly said, don't develop parking because you'll be stepping on our toes? That's my question. Okay, good.
I don't think anyone has said, don't develop parking because you're stepping on toes.
Excuse.
And I think last time we had this conversation at the last meeting, didn't we decide that was probably CPKC's property that they're talking about? And I have no idea what they're buying. So you know what? How about if I clarify that tomorrow and I'll send John a quick note,
Okay.
see what their thoughts are.
We'll send you the email that just came,
Okay,
residents over there, I'll send it to you. So you'll have something to go on.
sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Bailey.
I just want to just step in on this parking thing. Look, I think strategically, what we want is most people come into town and park or stay here and have this as the head of the trail, right? So anything that we can do to make sure people come here, stay a while, ideally stay a couple of days, and then once that bridge is done and then the connectivity to it, I think that's going to be great. And I think that's what's going to drive the economic benefits, which we all want out of this. And then in the interim, hey, take the ferry. The ferry is great too. So, I mean, the rail trail is a great economic opportunity, but we've got to make sure we enable it. Like if we don't and we don't take advantage of it, then I think this will pass us by. But part of it is getting people into downtown and see the charm of Sycamoose. And then I think that will build. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely get the concerns of residents over there, but ideally, once we're all completed with this bridge project, this is going to be a great place to start your trail ride.
Yeah. Councillor Bushel.
Sorry, I have two more. Real quick, Dean, on the Petrocan in the school. There's weeds like about 4.5 feet high along the fence, and I don't know if it's Petrocan's property or the school's property. Would staff be able to just mention something, because it's really a prominent area that should be kind of tidied up?
So the school district has a replacement plan for that fence.
Okay.
Those works are supposed to be done now that summer is beginning and kids are out of school. They also need to do replacement on the west side of their property, where a fence has been knocked down by a number of trees that have fallen from the adjacent property. So they're working with that property owner, having the trees removed so they can do the fencing work, and they're waiting for that property owner that work.
Okay,
I
great.
believe that the Petro-Canada site has been weed whacked up to their property line. That's my understanding from the owner.
Okay, thank you. And then the last one is just the boulevard on Highway 97 in the Trans-Canada. That boulevard that we're, in between the center line and the Trans-Canada, it's just like full of weeds. And I know it's not our problem, but maybe just a note to AIM or something like that to, kill the weeds. They're knee high.
So our public works team was working on that boulevard this afternoon.
Oh, super. Yeah, they were getting pretty ugly. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, let's move on then. Hey, thanks, Dean. Do you want to continue like that with us asking you questions, or do you want us to forward some questions that you can present? Like we could probably send them prior to, and you could be a little bit more prepared.
You don't feel I was prepared?
I know, no. You did.
Fine, it was fine.
No, to be honest, I don't mind this format at all. I'm quite comfortable with.
Just,
I try and keep a good abreast of things. I'm quite often touring around town, so I was touring around town before council and saw our operations team working in that ditch. So, I don't mind that at all. It doesn't, I try not to be caught flat-footed. But no, if I ever need more time to research, I'll just simply tell you that. I don't have an answer for you today, but I will look into it and get back to you.
Okay,
I'm quite
perfect,
comfortable with that.
perfect.
Council.
Thank you. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, correspondence. Does anyone have any questions on the correspondence? It's a short list.
Resolution EON.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Look at me, just go, look at me go. I think 'cause I was making notes at the bottom of the page. Application for Economic Opportunities Fund, Sycamoose Health Center. Recommendation that the district authorize use of the Sycamoose and Area Economic Opportunity Funds for a 4-year funding commitment in the amount of $86,000 totaling $340,000 for support to the Sycamoose Health Center. Could I get a mover? Councillor Evans, second. Councillor Beach? Questions? Or Bianca, do you want to?
Yeah,
Wait, why don't you?
This is more of a, we've talked about this during finance, but this is more of a formality for the CSRD. They require a resolution to go with this. So this is 4 years to help pay for our operating at our health center. Very similar to the approvals that they have for the Malaqua Community Learning Center. They provide operating funding, so similar to that. Speaking to our Area E contributing toward our health center, they have limited mechanisms to do that. They have grant and aid, which is very limited, and the EOF, which provides a little bit more, or referendum to get a new service in order to pay. So this is the simplest way, and yeah.
Okay, thanks. Questions? Counselor Rich, Counselor Bushel.
Yeah, through the churches. I thought we were looking, when I looked at this, first of all, I'm all for this. I love the medical center. I love we have doctors. I love that we can walk in anytime. I love everybody who works there, so know that. But, then there's a but. I thought we were saying 70 grand, so now we're at 86.
86 covers off your medical clinic and the building itself.
Okay, that's where the extra is coming from.
And it's what the current budget is. So if, when we fill that additional space and we bring a little bit more revenue in, anything of excess, so if this is over, that would be put to the health center reserve.
Okay, perfect. That was just my only question, because that makes sense. Thank you.
Counselor Bushel.
Through the chair, I just, I'd kind of have to review the parameters around the Economic Opportunity Fund. But I mean, I support this 100%, the medical center. But I just think that if we're, the Economic Opportunity Fund was always, I felt was more for recreation tourism, trying to bring people into town, economic opportunity. I mean, we know and the taxpayers know we're funding the medical center for $70,000 or $80,000, and it's in the budget and we pay for it. And that's easy. I think that we need, if we're going to keep up with Golden and we're going to keep up with Revelstoke and even Salmon Arm now, we need to take a look at some economic opportunities for directing people into Sycamore, signage, all kinds of stuff like that. I don't think that our Economic Opportunity Fund should be accessed for the medical center. Because it's not, it is an economic opportunity, but it's a government service that, the taxpayers rely on. And it's not tourism, and that's just my opinion. So I don't think I could support this.
Thank you, Counselor Bushel. Counselor Bailey.
So I'm just going to take the time to make a plug for what we already passed. We were supposed to have a report on the Economic Opportunity Funds. It's something I've been as a broken record on about how we use it, why we use it, what's it for. I'm not entirely clear on all the rules around the EOF fund. We've had discussions at this council table that we can use some for this and maybe not for that. And that's why, I don't know, what is this, 4 or 5 months ago, I think I droned on about this and said hey, we should have a report and we should have an idea, and then council should set parameters on what we want to use it for. This was discussed at budget as part of it, and I support it. But again, I'm just saying that we need to get some clarity around EOF, and is it even the right word? Right, is Economic Opportunity Fund. I mean, these are taxes in lieu, is my understanding, in terms of how we get the Economic Opportunity Fund is through other levels of government. Putting
Hydro.
BC Hydro, right? So instead of them paying property taxes, we do a fund. So I don't know how it ever got named Economic Opportunity. Probably someone just picked a name, but I think it leads us to believe that it should be one sort of set of criteria that's leading to economic development. Maybe that's not true, but it would be very helpful if we had staff bring forward that report and have that discussion, because I feel like we keep having this unclear moment on this fund. And I'm certainly not even clear myself, but that being said, I support the funding for the healthcare center and go from there.
Thank you. Counselor Bushel.
Through the chair, I know when I watch the CSRD meetings and they inquire about the Economic Opportunity Fund, there is, I don't know if it's a servicing establishment bylaw written by a BC Hydro or the province.
Something
goes with those recommendations. Could we get a copy of that too? And then it just tells you what it's to be used for, and then take a good look at it.
So I could certainly do that.
Okay. Do you need a resolution?
Yes, let's do
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll do a resolution that we, I don't know if we want to postpone this for, till we receive the, economic opportunity fund parameters, something like that.
you want to postpone this vote?
Yeah, well, until we see,
I won't support that, but.
till we see what the, parameters are. I'm sure it reads tourism, economic opportunity.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Malka?
so this has already been vetted through CSRD staff and the area E director. So
The motion on the table.
it does meet the parameters of the Economic Opportunity Fund.
It does or doesn't?
Does.
Go ahead, Councillor Beach.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking too. If you're talking tourism, then perhaps you would say that the health center doesn't meet the parameters, but in terms of economic development, it certainly does, because it brings all sorts of potential to bringing paramedical services and God knows what, in labs and all sorts of things. That's all economic development as far as I'm concerned.
You do have a resolution on the floor. A recommendation. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Bushel.
Can I just comment? Like I say, I think the medical center is deserving of operating and the taxpayers are paying it every year and it's coming, out of the taxpayers' pocket anyways. This BC Hydro Economic Opportunity Fund is $338,000 is a lot of money to be depleting that when we could be using it for tourism, and we're getting paid for the medical center anyways. The taxpayers are paying for it anyways. So I just would hate to, I know it gets topped up, but we're depleting it. And, you get 2 or 3 more big items and we won't have any pot there. I think if we're going to compete with Revelstoke and Golden and all these people, all these other communities, we need to take a look at our Economic Opportunity Fund and use that to its full potential.
Thank you. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a recommendation on the table and I'm ready to vote on it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to comment right now? Councillor Rich.
Just through the chair, I think Ian and Gord are right on this. We don't know what we're voting for because we've asked for the rules for the EOF in the past, I think 3 months ago. Now we're being asked to vote on $86,000. Everybody is in support of the medical center, but we actually don't know the rules that we're voting under. We've not seen them. And so I would say we need to table this, get the rules, and then vote. The medical center is not going to shut down tomorrow if we push this out. Table it and come back.
Councillor Evans.
Yeah, through the chair, I see it differently because I think if it's just how you see it philosophically, I think in the way of ramifications of the economics of the town and tourism are inextricably linked to the health center. So for this year, I'm in favor of this, but I agree with Gord. In the future, we should look at maybe other ways to use it. But in this year, in this case, I'm for this.
Go ahead, Bianca.
I just want to, if we're going to have a strategic discussion about EOF, I believe it'd be very beneficial to have the area E director in on that conversation because we only have a 50% vote on this.
Correct.
Nothing passes without the approval of that person.
Okay, thank you. Malcolm, is that a legacy hand or you have another question? Okay, Councillor Bailey.
No, I had another comment.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Malcolm. Sorry.
Councillor Rich said she wanted to table this. I don't think we can table it. A point of order, Robert's rule point of order. We have to vote on it because it's on the floor for a vote. If Councillor Rich doesn't like it, she can vote no. But I think it's up for a vote. It can't be. I don't think it can be tabled.
Yeah, it's on the floor already. Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, I'm supporting this, but I agree with the comments. And I think we need to have that understanding sooner rather than later, like maybe next council, because we've spent quite a bit of EOF, right? And we've done it for a number of different reasons. And if that EOF only gets approved because we've agreed and Area E director agreed, then those are the rules. But I don't know if those are the rules. And that's been my point all along, all the way along. But it sounds like if both parties agree, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. So then that's the rules. So then we're able to have that clear thing. But in the absence of that, this just keeps getting more and more muddied, even in my mind. But that being said, I see the value and the economic value of the health center. So, but I really think we need to have that report back because it just keeps circling. But I'm.
And I agree, Councillor Bailey. So why don't we vote on what's on the floor right now, and then we do a recommendation to staff that they pull together the information and with Director Martin as well involved.
And just note, like, I can get the information. I don't know if it's best to bring back a full staff report on that, because I would caution not to talk strategy without the Area E director. So I can provide, I have somewhere in my emails, I have the policy. I can also provide some of examples of where the other areas have spent their EOF, which I found very interesting. So I can get that off pretty quick, actually.
So can I just clarify?
Sure, and then Councillor Bushel.
All I'm asking for is, are there any rules? If so, what are they? And that's it. Really, that's all I'm asking. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, just, I'm asking the same thing. I mean, how can we make a $334,000 decision when we haven't seen the parameters? And I know the CSRD provides the staff report for the EOF fund, and I've seen it before, but I haven't drilled down on it, and I can't remember it all because I haven't looked at one for a year or two. But a staff report should have been given with this, and it should include the parameters of what we're voting on. Or like it'd be like voting on a servicing establishment bylaw rule. You have to read it before you can know what you're spending the money on. And that's a big vote to go to the taxpayers and say, yeah, we'll just dole out $344,000 and not know what we're voting on. But we know we're voting on taxpayers' money for the medical center, which we're already paying. But there should be parameters around the Economic Opportunity Fund so we can make an educated vote.
So Bianca, does this meet the parameters around the Economic Opportunities Fund?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's call the question. All in favor?
No, I don't know.
I
Malcolm, are
support,
you in favor?
I support it.
Okay. Or opposed?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. And we're moving on. So correspondence for information.
Was that passed or did that,
Direction.
did that pass?
Yes. We're going to make a recommendation that staff bring forth the information on the EOF fund.
Yeah, I'll make that thing. And I just want to say that this is really, really important because this is getting really, and not to repeat myself, but we're all over the map on this and nobody knows the rules. I don't agree that, and we've been doing this all the way along. So I don't think this vote has any kind of bearing on that. Like we can't say we gave it to one group and then we can't give it to this group. We just need to know what we're actually going to use it for and have the council discussion on it. But it appears to me that it's actually as simple as us agreeing and someone else agreeing. And if that's the case, then just tell us that. That's fine. So if we can have that clarity, I think we're going to be a lot better off for it.
Okay. Go ahead, Donna.
Just for clarity, then you're making the motion for staff to direct staff to bring back a staff report on the EOF fund and the parameters around and what it can.
Next council meeting or
the July 8th council.
Yes.
Okay.
Malcolm, can you hear us?
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Anyone have any more comments? Okay, call the question. All in favor? And that's carried.
I support it.
Okay.
Second.
Siobhan. Okay. All right, now we're going to correspondence for information. There's 3 pieces of correspondence. Does anyone have? Go ahead.
about the post office, and I just wonder, it's more of a question for you since it was addressed to you, Colleen. Was there any more information on what those hours would look like?
Not yet, I think, and the reason that I asked staff to share this was just a heads up that
Yeah.
those hours are going to be changing, so.
Fair enough.
Okay. That's it? Anything else in correspondence? Okay, committee and regional district reports. There's some internal committees. None, external, none, question period, where we are. Gallery. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Deb. Oh, no?
Earlier was good.
Earlier was good. Anyone online?
Nobody online?
Okay. That's it then. It's a wrap.
Good night,
So we're
everybody.
gonna- Hey, thanks, Malcolm. We're gonna call the regular council meeting. Pardon?
That you're going to.
Back in camera, Mel knows.
Resolution.
Right.
back in camera.
Does Mel know?
We
All right.
should.
We have to, Malcolm?
Do I have to sign back in?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back in camera. We can close the regular council
Yeah.
meeting. No, let's leave it till after.